Hi, welcome to the Enginerdy Show. Just kidding. This is
No,
Mr.
this really
Pold.
is the Enginerdy
Oh,
Show.
well, it is the Enginerdy Show, but I don't talk like that.
I was going to also. You ruined it.
I did ruin it. I'm Mr. Pold.
I'm St. Jimmy.
I'm DVD. DVD.
The
older
DVD?
and wiser DVD.
Wiser than yesterday?
Yes.
Older?
2 days ago.
Older than yesterday.
Oh, yeah, you got a birthday.
Divitimus Prime.
He's a prime number now.
I am.
Ooh, I'm still square.
Everyone in my family's turning prime, except for my youngest son. He's
Weird.
divisible.
Oh,
It's a scandal.
With liberty once it for
it's
all?
very scandalous.
No, that's not how it goes, is it?
What?
He's divisible with liberty.
Justice,
And justice for all.
Just ice for all.
Indivisible,
No soda.
I think is what you're looking for.
Our fake sponsor this week is Flannel Shirts, the dessert shirt you can't wait to get out of. Now, gluten-free!
I thought it was pronounced flan.
Oh, what did I say?
Flan.
Oh. Dang it, let me do that over. Flan old shirts. Dang it.
It's great for lumberjacks. that
And
don't
their
have
partners.
time to take a snack.
It's going to show up naked at the
I'm
end
a
of the day.
lumberjack and I'm okay.
But it's slightly sticky.
It is. Especially when it gets warm.
So this, by the time this episode comes out,
What?
Masters Ed and Charlie will be married
Hitch-a-fad.
Who are they marrying?
each other.
Oh, what a...
What a scandal.
So this
I was going to
is
say that.
the first marriage of people that got together thanks to this podcast.
What?
Yeah.
It's
Can
because
you
of
believe
this
that's never
podcast?
happened before?
Yes.
I still can't believe it's
I
happened.
still hasn't... I don't think it has happened still.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely responsible.
They would have never gotten married if it weren't for us.
Well, maybe you two.
The band?
Yes, Bono and Edge conspired to make this happen.
Weird. That's crazy. I would never have guessed.
That's why we're recording a day early, because I'm actually going down tomorrow.
Doing where?
Down to
Chad.
where Master Zed lives.
Oh, where he's getting
Zimbabwe?
married?
Oh, it's,
Yeah.
it's us. We're in Zimbabwe.
Zambia?
Is that what we're calling it?
I guess. I don't know.
If Charlie's there. Maybe it's like Laos or something.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
we don't have much banter this week.
We don't?
Oh, I thought.
I got something.
Oh, well, you didn't put it in the show notes.
I know, because I haven't done anything with the show notes.
Oh,
I didn't either.
is that why all of your spots are blank?
Maybe.
That's not why mine are, though.
I got one thing that's there. Nerdiculture. I had another engineer email me today about...
Social interaction?
Yeah, well,
That's nearly unheard of.
it's someone that both St. Jimmy and I know.
Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun. The
Someone that
plot
may be leaving
thickens.
soon.
Oh.
Oh.
But he emailed me with a question that was asked me yesterday by a guy that works for him. Apparently,
You didn't like the
he
answer.
didn't like the answer, so he emailed me the exact same question,
Yeah.
insinuating that we were misinterpreted a document.
He came over today and was ranting about how lazy planning yard people are. I was like, whatever.
Well, I've worked
The
with this
plot
person
thickens.
before. He really loves to argue.
Yes.
And he really loves to argue the smallest points that make no difference whatsoever.
Yeah.
Is he a
So
welder?
he should be.
Oh.
Anyway, we had a drawing that was altering some bolts that were kind of important. Like if these
As
bolts
bolts
fail,
are.
bad things that happen.
That's the typical
Because
description
it's part of
a bolt.
this large piece of equipment that you don't want that part to fail. Anyway,
That's the part I work on.
the criteria we put on our drawing was different than some criteria in some standard somewhere.
Oh, no.
I know. And so they were thinking that it was like a typo, or we misread it, or it was a mistake on our part, that we were idiots. And I told him exactly where the requirement came from, and I know it's different than this one, but we're going by this.
Right.
And
you're probably not authorized to change that requirement.
we would need
You'd have
A
to change
document.
the source document,
well,
the one that you're working to.
it would require correspondence with a different entity. And I know,
more engineers involved in correspondence?
I know, but this type of correspondence is for some reason very painful for
Yes.
the group that he works with. I don't know why it's not painful for us. We do it all the time. But anyway, there was no reason to change it. And then he got quibbling over... so we said... we gave it a dimension as 0.12. And it's basically saying if there's defects bigger than 0.12 inches, that they need to repair them.
Yeah.
And this other drawing...
The original
drawing said 1/8 inch.
Because
And
more
I'm like,
conservative.
seriously? 5/1000ths of an inch? And he's...
Yeah. If
I
it
mean-
was 1,000th, he would have...
It was insane, especially since 1/8 is more... would be more stringent
Yeah,
than
so you guys are being more
0.12.
conservative.
No, 0.12 is smaller than an 8.
Right. But if we
The
changed it
defect.
to 1/8, and there was a defect that was 0.121 inches long,
Oh,
then that would
fail.
need to be repaired.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You were being more liberal.
Yeah, but I point out to him again, the document that controls this says 0.12.
Yeah.
I think I
Larger
threw him off
factor
when I
of
mentioned that the control document and the drawing from when it was first manufactured are similar and different than this other
That's
document.
way better than mine, where I was pointing out that a drawing that I was involved in reviewing said something was a 1/4 inch thick. Something else said it was 3/8.
Well, we've had
And I was wrong.
we've had something too where
Somebody was wrong.
something, I don't know if it, there's a discrepancy or something, and they thought that it was our fault. I guess they have to put down a reason that something was wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, caused by...
Yes, a caused by thing. So they picked the drawing, and the reason they put it was wrong is I can't remember exactly how it went, but so we work with NPS size piping, National Pipe Size, or
Yeah.
not. I think that's what it stands for. But anyway, I can't remember the exact things, but they're saying the drawing called out. Let's see, what's an example?
Thought that meant not per schedule.
one NPS pipe, but it was actually 1.315 inches in diameter. And I'm like, yeah, that's how big diameter that is.
One
so-
NPS pipe is.
But I don't know. It seems like,
Some people would rather argue than actually do work.
yeah.
It's like their hobby is to get out of doing work by
I do
arguing.
the opposite.
So-
I get out of arguing by doing work.
Yeah.
Apparently, that means I'm lazy because I'm telling them the control
Lazy.
document says to do this, and that's
Yes.
what we're doing.
Yeah. And I reminded him that you're not going to find any... I mean, most likely you won't find any defects of any size, and it will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the odds of finding a defect that meets one criteria and not the other are minuscule.
Well,
so
in
who
his
cares?
email, he's like talking about the different ways they're going to measure these things, and it's just like they're probably going to use this 6-inch ruler, and it will have like one. You know, it's like, dude, what
don't
the heck
care.
are you talking about? We don't care.
That is what we deal with him like on a daily basis.
So he won't be missed.
No.
Well, when I heard that he became a lead, I'm like, I feel so sorry for the people that are going to have him as their leader.
Yeah. So my section and the section he's the lead of used to be one combined section.
Yeah.
And the lead of my section kind of had a breakdown and quit being lead. And so they made that guy the lead.
Yeah.
So he was my lead for a short time, and finally it was just so ridiculous that they split our section in two. And I was very pleased that I ended up in not his section.
You guys went through mitosis?
Yes. I just realized that people that work with me might listen to this. But hopefully not him. Other people that we work with will probably be nodding their heads.
Well,
You guys are funny.
if he does listen to this, I had no problems with him. I just thought it was, I just thought it was par for the course when dealing with him with engineering things. So I kind of laughed when I read it. I'm like, he's so funny.
I'm subpar.
My mentees, I've just told them, if he tells you you're doing something wrong, just agree until he leaves and then just continue what you were doing.
Wait, I wonder if that's what people do when I tell them to do stuff.
Hopefully.
Well, I'm glad we didn't say his name then. Although,
I'm probably
by
off
our
camera.
description, I'm sure anyone that knows
Anybody
him
that knows him knows who
knows
we're
who it
talking
is.
You
about.
guys described several people I know, but probably not the same person.
Probably not.
I think it's the type.
Maybe.
Person.
So he and I were in the same section several years ago, and there was like 4 or 5 of us that played cards at lunch every day. So
Yeah, I get along with him.
yeah,
fine.
there's enough other
Just
people
his work
in the
stuff
section
is ridiculous
for him to
sometimes.
argue with that I didn't have to deal with it. Just to hear just the inanity of the arguments that he'd get into.
Yeah, we call him head of the semantic squad.
Yes. Well, he loves to argue. That's
Yeah.
definitely true. And I don't.
Yeah.
So,
Au contraire, mon frère.
what, you think I do like to argue?
No,
You think you want to prove that assumption? No, just kidding. Well, that's like when I had a secretary tell me that I was argumentative.
Have you stopped hitting your wife yet?
And then what am I supposed to say? No, I'm not.
You're constantly denying things.
You're so argumentative and deny everything. Try some banter.
Oh, good.
My wife had her wallet stolen out of our truck last night.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's fun. And she called and told me this when I was at work already. And then my brain went to, wait a minute. Even though I was in a hurry and tired, I recognized that my car door was open or unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, and I did have the thought go through my head, wow, this song doesn't sound right in my car. So I thought all day today that I was missing my sub and my amplifier.
Mm.
I got back to my car and it was there.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
They put it back.
yes! I was like, okay. So that means it was punk kids that did a crime of opportunity and didn't have any tools to uninstall something that's installed. So
Good thing you didn't have your Rice Krispie treats in there.
I know.
They would have stole them.
I think that's what got them, is they were so confused by the empty Rice Krispie box. That
Ah. What you should do is you should put mouse traps in there so that when they stick their hand in there to grab them.
Wasn't that in a movie we just watched
It
recently?
was.
Yeah.
It was in the Needful Things movie.
Needful Things. It's very good.
A much better movie than the movie we're going to review today.
Someone said Needful Things. Oh, where was that?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
When
Oh,
there
I
aren't
do remember
children
now.
around.
That's funny.
So, should we do nerdiculture?
Let's do it!
I'm trying to... I have more banter.
Oh, okay. Let's banter.
We had another softball game.
Oh!
I'm probably going to be
Oh
talking about
my.
softball for banter for the foreseeable future.
Haha, who's a sports talker now?
I was actually playing the sport.
I know, but
We were playing the sport
I've
of
always been the
watching
person
sports.
that's coaching or playing, and now it's you.
So now it's my turn.
yes.
I play sports.
So we only lost by 6 this time.
It's pretty
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
It's good.
And it's just because of one particular inning where they had like 4 or 5 batters in a row that just like knocked it way out. And
That happens.
One of them went over the fence. Another one hit the fence.
Do you guys ever hit it over the fence?
I haven't seen our team hit it over the fence yet. I've seen us get within 2 or 3 feet of the fence.
Because engineers have weak arms.
That might be true.
Because our team never did either.
So
I'll take that back. We had a guy that could hit it over the fence, but he played college baseball. So
yeah, but there is nothing our outfielders could do to stop that.
climb the fence,
And so they scored a few runs.
jump higher. Did
Throw
they
your
even try?
glove at the ball.
Yeah. I did score a run. I ran in
Nice.
from second base. So
Nice. It's fun to score.
You're supposed to go via third base, though.
yeah, I went past third.
You someone past the pitcher.
You knock the pitcher's hat off on the
So-
way by.
Each game I've told you about something silly I've done.
Yes.
Like the first game I tripped over first base.
Yeah.
The second game
You
I
ran
couldn't
past the
figure out how to
bases.
stop
Yeah.
on bases. Well, this time, so I'm not experienced. I don't know what to do. It looked like they hit a pop fly, so I was thinking, oh, they're gonna catch it.
Yes.
So I'm like, do I run or not?
After they catch it.
And so I was kind of a little bit running and looking over to see what was going on. And then I started registering somebody yelling, "Run, Leo, run!" I'm like, oh, someone's yelling at me. And so I start running. It was a guy, one of the leads in my branch, came to watch us play. And he ended up playing third base coach.
Hmm.
And apparently he was yelling at me the whole time
See what you're
to
supposed
run.
to do if we were on second base at the time?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be looking at him. He's the one that tells you what to do.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Were there already 2 outs?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, if there was already 2 outs and they hit a pop fly, you might as well run, because if they catch it and the runners,
Yeah,
the
see,
hitter's out, then
These are things that don't enter into my mind when I'm standing on base and
Mm.
nervous that I'm going to screw something up. But I chalked it up to that I just naturally tune his voice out.
Oh. That's probably true.
And so I'm like, oh, I didn't hear you at first. But I did end up running and scoring. So
cool.
And I had a couple good hits. So. And I didn't get injured. Just
That's good.
Yeah, getting to first base is fun. Second base is even better, but scoring, it's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and playing softball's fun, too.
That's true.
Sorry,
guess.
Mom.
Why?
I don't know.
All right, that's my banter.
Okay.
It's way better than what we're about to do.
Oh, yes. Let's do nerdiculture.
Nerdiculture.
So, theme song and...
It's a work in progress.
Okay. So we watched... another Stephen King
I
movie.
filled out the spreadsheet.
Did you drag the
Creepshow
equation?
2.
Yeah. Can you give it zeros?
No, I think it has to be 1 to 10, right?
Oh, okay. I figured. I was just kidding around.
Okay.
Creepshow 2.
I don't know why it's
now,
on this position.
Does the title quality, is it make it worse if it gets your hopes higher than it is?
Did I get your hopes high?
Yeah, I was hoping it would be scary and... I don't know.
The title didn't really tell me anything about the movie.
Yeah, all we knew was
Except that it was a sequel.
it was an
So it did that
Yeah.
properly.
well, and it was misleading because I thought it was actually going to be creepy.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
There was a creepy part, but in a different kind of creepy than you were expecting.
I think
Yeah.
the hitchhiker one was pretty
Yeah.
good.
That was not
It was
bad.
funny.
Yeah, it was amusing.
If I'd watched it by myself, it probably would have been scarier. Maybe.
I could see
wouldn't have watched it by
How
myself.
if
It
you
seemed
were
like this.
if you were a kid, that would have been really freaky.
Should we
Yeah, I watched
explain
this
kind of
when I was a
what
kid.
goes
Yeah.
on in these?
So it's an anthology movie.
So there's
Yeah,
three
There's
stories.
tied together by horrible animation from the 80s.
Oh,
In
yeah.
between each movie, there was
I realized
really bad.
when the second one started that I had seen this as a kid
Oh.
Mm.
at a friend's house,
Mm-hmm.
as one does. Oops.
So the first
It
story.
was scarier when I was a kid.
It was funny because when the movie started, it said something like 2002 2 or
Oh,
something.
the Amazon movie thing.
Oh
said
yeah,
2000
before we
something.
started it, it said 2001
That's
or
like, I think
something.
I've seen
11.
this based on the description.
Oh, 2011. We're like, whoa,
You're
this,
like-
that's this new, or this
Yeah,
is
you
that
guys, You guys were
new.
making fun of me, like, you weren't a kid in 2011. I was
And
like,
then it
no.
starts, and we're immediately like, okay, this does not look like 2011. And then it, at some point, it said copyright 1987 or something.
Yeah.
So it's Master Zed's age.
No. So the first story is about this old town that
Kind of dried up.
is dried up, and there's an old couple running a store, and
It's like a cigar Indian,
it's
right?
really
Used to use to sell
boring.
cigars.
Oh, they
Out front.
have like a wooden Indian statue in the front, and some
Punk kids. Oh,
yeah. Trying to think of the best way to describe them.
Horrible actors.
Yeah, well, that's true.
cartoonish thuggery.
Cartoonish
Car-
thuggery.
Like
So
not
these
realistic.
three guys.
Oh my
Fatso
gosh,
was the name
this-
of one of them.
The dude was so slow. The shop owner, like
Oh, that
everything
whole
he
story
did was,
was so
slow
slow.
motion.
I mean, okay, so you figure each story is going to be about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It was 25 minutes before anything happened.
yeah.
It all happened in the last like 3 minutes, right?
Pretty soon you're like, just kill the old guy. Come
Just kill all of
on.
them.
Yeah, anyway, they
Hope
go
there's
in
still no
there,
nuclear
they
war. Stuff like that.
steal some stuff, and they end up killing the couple, the old couple.
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
then the
I
wooden
mean, that's too
Indian
bad.
comes to life and goes and systematically murders each of the
Predictably kills
three
them. In
dumb ways.
yeah, it
Oh.
wasn't even good. It's like the first one he shot with an arrow.
It was also very
Several
racist
arrows.
Yeah, it was because
toward American Indians,
yeah.
Native Americans.
Hey, based on how long our family's been in this country, I think we count as natives.
Mm,
Pre-Columbian.
Okay.
Americans.
Anyway, you could tell this one guy was wearing a wig because
Do you think
he was
like,
not very
spray
natural
tan,
about
too?
what he did with his hair. Because he was like always like flipping it back, and it's just like and then he's like, "Oh, it took me 9 years to grow this hair out, and it's so great." And it's just like, you do not act like someone who's had that long of hair for that long. Anyway, it was really lame.
Yeah.
He was mean too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then they have the overweight kid that's named
Fatso?
Fatso.
Yeah.
But for some reason, halfway through, they started calling him fat stuff. I was confused by that a little bit. You could read more into it and think that the guy that owed him, or the leader of the tribe or whatever, that gave him something to hold as collateral, because owing someone money is better than begging for or whatever that weird thing was.
Some slow speech that he goes into about
Right.
why he's giving him all this collateral, and
But I think he was giving the collateral, understanding his grandson was going to do something stupid and wanted to get him out of the way, and knowing there's magical powers in said items.
So not
Because-
doing anything to prevent his murder, just
And he knows also that his son's probably going to kill the old couple, thereby
Then-
releasing the tribe from any.
oh,
And
so it was a
this is almost like the
this is this is as it's happening.
Sith Jar
retconning
Jar
in my
Yeah.
brain to make it more
Theory.
interesting. And then it was proven true when he shows up at the end and doesn't even go in to check on the old couple. And
Oh,
thanks
yeah.
the Indian
He just-
or the card Indian guy.
Yeah. Which you guys didn't notice, but I noticed the whole time that he was slightly moving.
Yeah, when you pointed that out, it was like very disconcerting. Watching
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I didn't notice.
It
till he
wasn't an
said
I
actual
thought you
something.
were
statue.
joking. I was like, oh, the long
No.
I gotta stand there. I was like,
Sometimes
it's a
it
statue.
looked like a statue, and other times you're like, okay, that's definitely a dude.
Well,
Like
there were
staring
times
there.
when
Like
he was
stabbing that
definitely a
guy?
dude that you guys didn't notice.
Yeah,
Or he pulled the
so
guy
that's for
through
sure.
the wall by his hair.
That was cool.
And then he left the wig with the statue. Oh, I guess it was a
The
scalp.
bloody
He's-
wig.
Got scalped. Yeah.
Okay, the
That'd
second
be funny
story.
if, like,
Oh.
later he showed up and he just was bald. He's like,
So
they stole my
cut my
wig.
the second
Yeah.
story would be better minus the creepy factor in the middle.
So these teenagers that are high and driving go to this lake, and you get
Where
the
there's a-
impression that it's kind of cold.
Yes. What do they called?
It's like the end of the season, so they talk about how all the summer people have left. And there's a raft, which is actually just a floating dock.
Yeah,
in the middle of the
like
lake.
a raft. Is that a colloquialism?
It might be
based on
a regional thing.
regional.
Could be
Is
regional.
it Maine?
I don't
Maybe.
know.
I would think most lakes in Maine are cold,
Yeah.
But they
snow melt and whatnot.
swim out to this dock.
Raft.
Dock! Whatever.
It has a ladder. It's
And-
got to be a dock.
So 2 guys, 2 girls. One of the girls is swimming out there in a sweatshirt, which didn't make sense to me. But
She had body dysmorphia issues.
And then she gets there and she takes the sweatshirt off. It's like,
Well, it was cold.
it's not going to keep you warm in the water.
anyway,
No.
they
So the
get
one couple were like boyfriend, girlfriend, and then there's just
they
like a guy
get
and a girl that weren't
almost
together.
there, and one of the guys notices that there's this tarp in the lake.
It
that
did
this
look
duck
like a tarp.
Is playing around on.
Oil-soaked tarp.
Yeah.
And
It
so
immediately freaks him out. He's like, there.
So 3 of them climb up there,
It's moving,
and
that
then
freaked me out.
the one girl is just kind of treading
slow.
She's
water,
like doggy paddling.
and the tarp monster is moving toward her, and they're all freaking out, and so they pull her up at the last second. And then, for some reason, this girl decides to put her finger in the tarp monster,
Oh yes.
and then it.
Did she drop something?
No.
No, she was playing with it, touching it with her finger.
Oh.
She was curious.
Well,
She's
tarp
tarp
curious.
curious.
it
so-
grabs her.
The tarp grabs her and pulls her in and consumes her.
And they
it's
just
starting to,
kinda stand there and
digest her and stuff.
Talk about, like,
They're freaked out a bit.
what should happen next while it's eating her.
Yeah, well, and then the tarp goes under the raft and
Oh,
comes up
yeah.
between the boards. I'm calling it a raft now. Comes up between the boards and grabs one of the guys and
It's a stationary
pulls
chain to
him
the bottom of
through
the lake raft.
the dock.
Yeah, and it's funny because one of his
Oh,
legs
yeah,
is, like,
that's-
up in front of his face. It
Like
looked,
folds in half.
yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
So then it's just the guy,
The guy
this
and the
dead
other guy's
girlfriend.
girlfriend. And
And then it gets
where'd the
creepy.
hole go?
It was kind of there. I could see it
Oh,
okay.
after that.
But yeah, so they were standing between boards, taking turns watching.
Yeah,
the
they figured out
monster,
if
make sure
you
it stays
didn't
away.
stand on the crack, it couldn't get you.
And then it moves
some
away
reason.
or something, and they end up staying there the whole night, and they're cold. But luckily, they have this wet sweatshirt that they can wear.
Yeah, they just get the dead girl's wet sweatshirt, and the other girl puts it on.
Well,
like,
it might have been dryish, maybe. They went there in the morning and it was the hot sun all day, but then it would get cold at night.
Yeah.
meanwhile, the whole time they left the doors on the car open
Open,
and
with
the
the
radio
Stereo
on.
playing. It's still playing in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's got a really good battery.
So the girl is sleeping on the dock, and the guy goes all creepy and like
Takes her.
starts fondling her
Yeah.
and stuff.
Like he's a Hollywood producer
Yeah.
or Bill Cosby.
But then,
She suddenly wakes up.
because the thing is grabbing her face through the boards, and
Yeah, they screwed that one up, and it eats her.
so then he finally decides. Well,
While
he
it's
waits
eating
too
her-
long. He's standing there watching it eat her.
And then he's like, "Oh,
as
I
soon
should,"
as it's done, then he jumps
Yeah.
in the water and tries to swim for
and
shore.
races it to shore.
And he gets there.
And he sits right at the edge of the water and mocks it.
And the tarp grabs him.
Yeah.
He's dead.
It can jump.
It's like those killer whales that jump up and
And
grab
then-
seals off the beach.
And then the camera pans over into the woods.
There's a sign.
Behind a bush, there's a sign that says "No swimming." What?
Well, the tarp actually obviously moved the sign over there to lure people out to the raft.
Why would there be a floating dock in a no swimming lake?
Yeah, what's the
scientists.
story of how the no swimming
So-
sign came to be? They're like, there's a tarp creature in the lake.
And the
We better
scientists
put
were
a sign
studying
up.
it. So the scientists would take a robot out to the dock, obviously dressed in their giant yellow like
Hazmat
hazmat
suits.
suits,
Okay.
and study it. And they put their sign. This is a while ago, so they put
You
their
would think
sign
after
where
it
there's some
ate
small trees.
Tasha
and
Yar, they would know.
Yeah.
That was in
Oh.
the future.
Oh.
So
It eventually eats Tasha Yar
Yeah. Ends up on
After-
another planet.
Q transports it to a different planet.
as punishment for eating
But they
these
probably put the
teenagers.
sign. The scientists put the sign there when it was like small, like
Bush.
Saplings.
and then it grew up around it after the monster figured out how to eat the scientists too,
Oh, okay.
Mm.
and pulled their car or their experiment van into the lake also.
Oh.
Which is actually what the tarp is hooked to now.
Oh,
Oh.
the mystery
raft.
machine.
Right.
Oh, the raft's hooked to the
The mystery machine.
mystery
And
machine.
the tarp
Okay.
produces like a Tesla type energy field that causes the car battery not to discharge its entire charge
Oh.
with the radio.
Radios actually use a lot less power than your lights. So, like, leaving your
It likes-
lights on overnight
It likes mood music.
is gonna definitely drain your
But do you
battery.
think they have a dome light?
Anyone that has teenagers
I don't know, it was
that
a
has
T-top.
gone someplace,
Oh, that's true.
like
was
a
that the
sporting
T-
event.
No, it was the one in the previous that had T-top.
Yeah,
I don't
that
think
one
this one was a
solid
T-top. So it
But
may have had a dome light.
Anyone with teenagers knows that teenagers, if you're someplace they find boring, will go sit in your car, turn the key on, put the radio on, and by the time you're ready to leave an hour later, the car battery will be dead. Having had that happen several times,
Mm.
and having tried to help somebody that their teenagers did that in a Honda that I couldn't figure out how to pop the hood. I was like,
Nice.
there's got to be like a lever or something.
But is that because other accessories are on too? Like, this was an old car. Maybe it didn't have any other accessories. I don't know.
know.
All right.
It was unrealistic. It wouldn't have lasted all
try it.
night.
the third
Is your
story.
car here? Go turn the radio on, turn all the accessories off.
We'll leave it all night.
We'll
It's
leave
my
it
wife's
until the end of
car.
the show, and then we'll see if you can drive home.
No thanks. If it was my pickup, we could just push start it.
Oh
but
yeah.
So the third story is about this married woman who is at a prostitute's house.
A gigolo.
Yes. And
Let's be technically accurate.
This was the most horror.
horrific.
horrifying.
This was.
And so,
the
but
most
she needs to
horrific
get
one.
home before her husband does.
Right.
At 11:30, and she's
exactly.
overslept because obviously you just fall asleep in the bed of your
Paramour.
male.
Gigolo.
Yes.
And so she's a very poor driver.
Oh, because he had an electric alarm instead of a wind-up one.
Yes.
And it was unplugged or something.
It's flashing 12, which it does when power goes out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that
She berates him for having an electric alarm
yeah, that
clock
was
instead
pretty
of a
weird.
Right.
wind-up one.
See, this one I have a retcon for too. But I'll get to that at the end.
All right, so she ends up hitting a
Hitchhiker.
hitchhiker who's dressed like the Gorton fish guy,
Yeah, he was.
It's Maine. What do you expect?
a yellow slicker with hat and everything,
It's Maine.
and he's got a sign that says, does it say Dover?
Dover.
Yes, Dover.
So definitely in New England. And she flees the scene.
Okay,
Where's Dover at?
It's in,
Delaware.
Delaware. That's what.
is it? I
Dover,
thought it was
Delaware?
up in like Massachusetts, New Hampshire.
Massachusetts.
I know
None of
Dover
these
is
sound
the
good.
capital of Delaware. There may be a Dover in Massachusetts,
In
but
Maine, maybe.
not a famous one
Dover, Maine.
for people outside the New England area. Dover.
You did that wrong. There you go.
Dover.
Anyways.
Dover.
Dover.
Named after Benjamin
Oh,
Dover.
it's in southeast England.
Well, that he was probably hitchhiking. That's why he was dressed in that outfit. He
Wasn't
was
that-
hoping a boat would pick him
Wasn't that
up.
city named after
Take him across the
Benjamin
Atlantic.
Dover?
I think it might have been.
Okay, so I guess he was going
Poor
to
old
New
Ben.
Jersey. Or Delaware.
Or Combe.
Look, right there, Dover.
Combe
His
Dover.
brother Combe.
Where's the lake? Can you see the lake with the raft?
But that's not in Dover.
That's New Hampshire. Dover, New Hampshire. Booyah.
It's not a famous Dover, though.
Oh.
And like I said, no
it
one
was
outside
famous
of New
enough
England.
that I knew it.
Whatever.
Well, I've been here
Oh, well, so have I.
twice.
Did
I probably drove through there on my way to a baseball
you
game.
hit somebody?
Not that I'm willing to admit.
Ooh.
Anyway, she turns it into a hit and run.
Yes.
So she takes
Well,
off.
he's dead, so I mean, it's just gonna ruin both their lives at that point.
That's not
what
a
she
good
thought.
excuse.
That's what she thought.
It's a
Well,
bad
she kind of
excuse.
starts freaking out, like
Yes.
having a panic attack. Like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
She dropped her cigarette in her lap, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
was. She dropped
So
her cigarette in
that
her
would
lap
be an
and
accident.
started freaking out and then hit the hitchhiker.
For some reason, all of a sudden her car couldn't control at all. Like it was like,
It could have been
It's on a
icy.
skid pad.
It was snowing later.
oh, that's true.
Oh yeah.
So,
Maybe the guy that she hit was urinating on the road and it froze. So he caused
Well.
his own death.
well, he
It was his
He
fault for
shows up
dressing
later.
like that. He come,
Oh.
yeah.
and
She sees him.
he says, "Thanks for the ride, lady."
Yes.
And didn't I can't remember the sequence of events, but she ends up running over him, backing
Kicks him
over
off
him.
road, rams him into a tree.
Yeah, he keeps
He like reaches
appearing
down through the
sunroof.
and grabs her.
Yeah.
Thanks for the ride, lady.
And each time she runs him over, his body's deteriorating.
She even shoots him with a gun.
Oh, yeah,
several
several
times at one point.
Yeah. So by the end, he's just like this bloody flesh
Mangled,
hanging off
yeah.
his skull.
Like she rams him into a tree multiple times,
Yeah.
and then she gets home, and she's surprised her husband's not there.
Yeah,
Well, that's because he was the first one to stop at the accident scene, the hit and run accident scene. And she pulls into the garage, and she's all thinking about how much it's going to cost to fix the car, I guess.
Yeah.
She'd been thinking about that for a while.
with the car running though, right?
But she
And the
she
door's
opens the door, and the thing's underneath, the guy's underneath. It's a thing by this point.
Yeah.
And
The
kills her.
garage door closes, and she dies from carbon monoxide or something.
Which her husband
you know.
then finds when he gets home.
So when he gets
Yeah.
home, he opens or he sees exhaust coming out of the closed garage
Right.
door, opens it up, and his wife's in there dead.
So here's the retcon for this.
With
she
the
was
sign.
feeling so guilty, or she was
the
hating.
sign. Thanks for the ride. or
She was
something.
hating her marriage so much that she went in the garage, started her car, killed herself, and that was her last lucid dream of her brain.
There's-
Inventing the gigolo and the hit and run.
Okay.
And that's how you retcon that.
This masterclass in retconning is
Where'd
brought
the
to you
sign
by
come
DVD.
from?
Good question.
She was directing her husband to where her safety deposit box with all of the will paperwork is.
And she just incorporated it into her
Right.
crazy dream.
Okay.
All right.
So that one actually wasn't too bad. The last one.
It was amusing when he kept coming back and saying, "Thanks for the ride, lady."
That got a good laugh every time he said it.
Yeah, and he's like grabbing her through the sunroof, and it was pretty good.
She's flailing around
But he
and
wasn't
driving horribly.
hurting her ever.
I know. He was just like touching her hair and
Yeah.
shoulder, and she's like
It
crashing
was like
through
he was
stuff.
like a zombie, but like a zombie from like a what are they called, corn maze, where they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted her to hurt herself.
Oh yeah.
Which she ended up doing after she destroys her Mercedes
Ramming it into a tree over and over.
and driving
That was
off-road.
driving
that was
through
a
the
decent
woods.
off-road vehicle though.
Yeah,
Like,
it was. She
I
drove
was
through the
surprised
woods
it
a
was
lot.
still running. It got
In
her
the
all the way
snow.
home.
I was
Yeah.
more amazed it didn't get stuck ever.
Yeah.
Must be heavy.
All right, should we start
Yeah, let's
ranking it?
rank it. We're going long.
Yeah.
Oh, are we?
Title
Oh.
quality. Meh.
Not 5.
Oops, that's not you.
I guess I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
Casting?
He's not done putting his in.
Oh.
I was thinking. All right, casting. The only one I recognized it was Stephen King.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he was horrible
Yeah,
in
the-
it.
yeah.
He was a truck driver.
I recognize the old guy from the beginning one.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to give it a 1.
There was not a good actor in the show.
I'm gonna go 2. I don't know. I thought the kids on the raft were decent actors. They were just creepy.
Yeah.
And high.
They may have been suffering from lack of plot.
And I thought her husband was pretty
The
good.
dialogue was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah,
They're
it's
just-
different.
Casting, I'll give it a 2, I guess.
2
Did you
for
say
me.
2?
Yeah.
Okay. Soundtrack,
1.
It was 1, definitely. If
It
I
was
could give it lower, I would.
alarmingly bad.
It was like, we can't afford good music. Let's just play stuff that, like,
What was the car playing at the lake?
I don't even remember.
I don't either.
But none of the music seemed to match up with what was
Yeah.
going on.
Cinematography.
That wasn't bad.
I was thinking like maybe
It wasn't awesome, but
Middle
I'm
of the
gonna say
road.
3.
yeah, I was thinking maybe a 4.
I'm giving it a 1.
Okay.
I thought it was horrible.
A lot of it was, but there was some spots. Special effects were... The only good one was probably the dude at the last one.
I don't know.
The
I don't
lake-
know. They fell in the tarp. That was pretty good.
There was some
Yeah.
gruesomeness with the tarp.
The tarp thing, I
Yeah,
was thinking
I
of
liked
when they first showed it, and you're like, it's a tarp. But then when it grabbed people, that was
Well,
kind of cool.
that is kind of its
But
camouflage.
it's going to lose points for the animation.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
4.
I'm gonna go 2 because the animation.
I'll give it a
disturbed me that
The
much.
animation was horrible.
Stunts?
The guy in the car. I mean, he was.
Yeah, that was...
He's strapped to the car, probably.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought that was fine.
5.
I'd probably give it a 5.
5.
Plot?
1.
There was
One
a
with the
plot.
Well, there was a plot.
They
in
all
the
had
first
plots.
One kind of. The second one was
I think
stupid
the
teenagers
plot...
got their comeuppance.
The plot was better than it was It was just executed poorly. So,
If you say so.
2.
all right. Continuity?
1.
Yeah. The car battery
Yeah, there was
lasting
just
all
so
night,
much
and
Just.
the kid just suddenly becoming a almost rapist out in the middle of the lake in a life and death. I guess
Yeah,
he's
that
like,
seemed-
oh, we're
that-
gonna die. I'm gonna fondle
Yeah.
this chick while she sleeps.
Yeah.
Characters, none of them.
1. I hated all the characters.
Yeah.
I think there were characters.
They were bad characters.
Yeah.
And the. Yeah.
They didn't act according to what their character should have been.
I don't know. Fatso was fat.
That's true. That was descriptive.
They were just like bleh. Like,
2. Give it 2.
yeah, I'll give it a 2. Acting.
1.
Can we go negative here?
Acting was horrible.
I'm giving it a 1.
None
It
of
was
them knew
I'll
how
go
to act.
dialogue
1.
was horrible.
Yes, that was also
1. I mean, the longest conversation in the third one was about the alarm clock.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, she was by herself for most of the time.
I guess.
Well, she was talking to herself about how much it was going to cost to fix her car.
That's a monologue.
Okay. That's not dialogue.
No.
It made you think that Stephen
The-
King has something against alarm clocks.
The
Or,
guy kept saying-
electronics.
Thanks for the ride, lady.
Yeah.
That's continuity.
Anyway, what's the next one?
Horror. There was definitely some horror.
I think compared to a lot of the ones we've watched, the attempts at horror were more.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you imagine being on a raft
Yeah.
with
I was thinking
tarp
middle
monster?
of the road, maybe like a 5-ish, 6-ish.
I'll go 6.
I'd go 5.
All right. I'll give it a 5.
7.
LOLs.
There's
Highest rated
okay.
stat of
The
movie.
first story, the only LOLs we got were from our own jokes.
Yeah. I don't know if that should count towards the movie.
No.
They weren't trying to be funny. I don't think.
But the last story was
we left
full of
pretty
yeah.
a lot of LOLs. So
So 3 or
3.
4?
3.
A third of it?
What are you going to give it?
I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
I guess I'll go 5.
That's what I was thinking. Quotability.
Hey,
Thanks for the ride,
thanks for the
lady.
ride.
It's more than we can quit out of most of these movies afterwards.
Let's see, what did I give for some of the other ones?
Nothing's gotten over a 6. That was Maximum Overdrive. You make love like a hero.
That's so good.
I'll give it 3.
All
I
right.
want to go back and watch Maximum Overdrive again. I like that movie.
Yeah, just the thanks for the ride, lady.
3. I'll go 3.
All right. Awaketitude.
I don't know how you would be able to stay awake through the first story if you didn't.
If
have other people there
Yeah,
and you're
if you
making
were by
fun of it.
yourself-
It's not very good.
It's so slow.
Yeah.
It's just like, is I actually going to do something?
This has got to be the lowest one.
1.
I'll say...
Well,
Another 2.
Because
I'll
if
bump it up for
you,
the last
if you could
one.
make it to the second one, you might stay awake.
I don't
Yeah.
remember the first one,
But if
From
you
when I
fell
watched as a
asleep during
kid.
the second one, you might get groped
but I remember the second and third one.
by that creepy guy on the raft.
Maybe that was the intent.
Even
Get people
the
to fall asleep
yeah,
in the first one. So
even the raft one was a little on the slow side.
Yeah,
Especially the beginning part.
especially when they're waiting all
Well,
night.
there wasn't much to it.
There wasn't.
There was
There's a
no...
monster.
There wasn't
you
much to it. Any of these.
inadvertently.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So what are you giving it for Wakeitude?
I'm gonna go 2.
So puns.
8.
Yes,
There were a lot of
that
puns.
whether they were good puns or not, I don't know, but they were.
They were
puns.
mostly in the interstitial
Animated
cartoons.
part, the Creepshow.
And
They
he was
were
doing it on
intentionally being
Yes.
punny.
It was great.
So there were tons of
I'm
puns.
gonna say 8 as well.
All right, and
gonna save our rating.
Cryptitude.
1.
Yeah,
There's no
I
way I'd
would
watch
not
this by myself.
this.
1.
Okay. So the composite score 2, 2.6, and 2.6. That's for us. So IMDb gave this
How?
6 out of 10,
That's like a D. This is
which is
totally an F.
higher than Dolan's Cadillac. Are you
What?
kidding me?
That is insane.
The only one higher is Silver Bullet.
What?
Oh, and Cat's Eye and Needful Things. I didn't see those.
Right.
What is
Yeah,
Creepshow
I don't
1 rate?
understand it.
Creepshow 1. Where is it?
It's pretty high up there. This makes me think this is their direct to DVD or tape
Yeah.
VHS. Let's take advantage of the name Creepshow.
Creepshow 1 got a 6.9 on IMDb. Wow.
Okay, so IMDb, they must be seeing something.
But we liked
missed.
it worse than the top critics of Rotten Tomatoes.
The
also,
top critics gave it 33% of them said
that's
this was
insane
good.
that it got that
That was
high.
better than.
The
That gave
audience-
it better than Needful Things.
The audience gave
What?
it 40, which was
I
slightly
can understand Sleepwalkers.
below Needful Things. So the other combined was a 4.43, which is higher than
Is this the
Needful
first time that's
Things.
happened?
Oh,
and
that
we
happened on-
rated it lower.
Happened on Dolan's
We gave
Cadillac.
it a 2.38.
which is the lowest so far.
This was definitely the
sounds
worst.
This
right.
is one of 2 that we liked worse than these other people.
Weird.
Critics and whatnot. Strange. What's the next one?
I don't know why
I
it's
don't even
in
know
the
what that one's about.
position it is, or why it got ranked so high by these
don't know
other
either.
things. But
This was way worse than anything
I
we've
thought
seen
about
so
going and
far.
find the original website, reading why he was.
oh
So, do you guys know anything about the Night Flyer?
no,
Is that about a red wagon?
Red Eye Flight.
Oh,
No,
that's Radio
I have no
Flyer.
idea.
It's a
The
kite.
radio flare. I don't know what it's
It's
about.
It's the story of Benjamin Franklin
Never heard it.
discovering
It's the
electricity.
Story of Benjamin Dover and his.
His brother Combe. His balding brother Combe.
So do not watch Creepshow 2.
No.
I wouldn't chance it. We thought they were getting
I would
better,
rather
and then all of a
spend
sudden
the
we
night
get
on
this.
a raft with a groping teenage boy than to watch this movie again.
I'd rather be walking on the side of the road.
That groping scene was way too long,
Yes.
I think makes me wonder if
It was-
certain people aren't.
making our wives
Curves.
uncomfortable.
It's making me uncomfortable. I was actually covering
I don't know,
my eyes.
maybe IMDb and Rotten Tomato people like that kind of thing.
I was doing this.
Needs more groping. two gropes up.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, the guy in the last one was kind of fondling that lady's shoulder.
Oh,
In her
yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
Inside her face with his bloody arm. I'm not speaking British here. It was actually pulpy and bloody.
Okay.
Thanks for the ride, lady.
So Night Flyer next. So if you want to keep up with us, watch that. We
Yeah.
did 2 really close back to back.
Yeah, I wonder.
If we pick up this pace, we might.
Well,
actually
good.
get
Maybe
through all
none of our
them by the year.
listeners watched Creepshow too. They
Yeah,
were saved
hopefully.
the agony.
They're like, but the Enginerdy Show told me to watch it.
No.
What?
Look at the IMDb and top critics and audience scores for the next one compared to this one.
They're the exact same.
Exactly the same. Wow, that's eerie.
unfortunate.
I hope the Night Flyer is way better than Creepshow 2.
It's the origin story of the groping teenager. The night groper.
The night groper.
That is the best time to grope. Or so I've heard.
Okay. Moving on.
That's nerd culture for you.
All right. For Technerdy, I'm going to talk about airplane design. So
And they fly at night.
I took
Why do
some
you
of
have a
them do.
picture of an Enterprise nacelle?
That is the inside of an airplane with no seats.
Cool. They should do it like all the time. Just like have everyone like sit on the
Bring
floor.
a sleeping bag.
Yeah. There'd be no groping involved,
So-
I'm sure.
I recently took a couple of really long flights, and there was definitely a difference between planes and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So this
I like
article
the ones where you can write on the inside.
is from wired.co.uk, and it talks about some different little things they can do to make a big difference for airplane comfort. So what do
Lower
you
the oxygen level.
what do you guys think is the number one
Knee
thing?
room.
Uncomfortable seats.
Okay. So
Crying babies.
Especially when you're tall like I am and your knees hit the seat in front of you.
yeah.
Encroaching passengers.
Yeah, other people. That's what I think. It
That's
was
why I wear
interesting.
my Raiders fan gear.
They found that
Against
one
me.
of the biggest things is what pressure they set the cabin at,
Mm.
because it affects your blood oxygenation, and that can affect your muscles, can affect how well you sleep. It can affect how jet lagged you are after the trip. So to test this, they took a bunch of college students from Oklahoma, and put them in a hypobaric chamber for 20 hours at a time at different pressures, and had them just watch movies on VCRs, sleep, and they provided meals and snacks
Were they in an
and
uncomfortable position? Or
a
just-
restroom. They were in airplane seats.
Oh, okay.
So they tested them at different pressures, simulating different altitudes, and they found that the best pressure would be the pressure at 6,000 feet, or
So-
a little under 2,000
And
meters.
it also helps you escape Langoliers.
Yes, yeah. They said that was a big one that they were doing this study on. Some other things. So one of the planes had this that I flew on. The overhead compartments, you could tell that they came down slightly different. They had changed the way it hinged. And so you could fit your bags in there better.
The door was in the way.
And so they could fit more bags in there, and it went up, and it seemed like it went up really high. So you had a ton of headroom,
Oh, that sounds
and
cool.
it made the airplane feel way more spacious. Because when you get on, they were all down, and it seemed normal. But then when they put them up, it was like, holy cow,
So
this
basically like you're in a space plane.
airplane feels large. So they did that by just like changing the hinge slightly, so it was at a slightly different angle. And they said
Thank engineers.
they said it actually made the hinge simpler.
You might say the design hinged on engineering.
Yes.
Some other things they do are they changed the coping around the window just by a tiny amount. They changed the shape so that your shoulder fit better with it, and even though it only gave you like less than an inch more space, it made you feel like you had a lot more space. They did surveys on 2 different flights. They were identical seats, identical planes, except for a couple features. They gave them the same meals, and everything was the same. The only difference was the door leading into the plane on one of them was slightly bigger and better. There was like more light in that area, and the people that boarded the plane with the bigger door and more light rated their experience higher than the other one, even though everything else was identical. So they were saying sometimes you can move something or change something by just a millimeter, and it will improve the flight experience.
Well, it's kind of the same psychological effect probably of having an artificial, like a robot that's trying to look human.
Yeah.
The smallest minute details our brains can pick up.
Yeah.
Then they recognize it.
Yeah.
So if you don't consciously see it, your brain thinks bigger because it's...
Yeah. So other things are just changing the color of the ceiling and the carpet.
To get rid of the red and the strobe lights.
Can make a big difference. So, yeah. So I thought that was a good article. It was interesting how the design can affect your things. So I kind of think, it kind of made me think like, okay, what can I do in like my office or my house that would be like a minor thing that would just make the space feel different? You guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, replacing the
Coloring?
iron shelf, or the old shelves we had with these ones, makes this room feel bigger.
Yeah, it does.
That's because these shelves are against the wall and others weren't.
I know.
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, I pulled this table out a couple of inches and didn't tell you guys. And
I haven't noticed.
right, it was a small change that you didn't notice, but
I can see it now.
to me, it makes it feel like we have more room around the table. But
Because I remember one time I did mention that the monitor looked weird. Wonder if that was that week.
maybe.
So my brain picked up on it. It just didn't know what it was.
Yeah. But I mean, I
By listening
literally
to that sense, you can really get really good at that. Like I used to be able to walk by people's desks when their AutoCAD was up and say, "Why is your text two different sizes?" And they'd be like, what are you talking about? And they check like, "How did you see that?"
Yeah, there's tales
different.
in the shop of somebody looking at something and go, that looks like it's about 1,000th out of round.
I've done that before.
And they go and measure it and they're like, it is! What the heck?
I
measured
was
before.
I was
Could
looking
be
at a
doing the
component
Crocodile Dundee.
that I said I think it's about 1,000th off that direction. They measured it and then it was right.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, I just got calibrated eyes.
Yeah. I had a scale installed on my cornea.
And it did surprise. They're like, whoa.
That's funny.
I totally guessed, but
And that's Technerdy.
they don't know that.
So in the news, October 26th coming up, Red Redemption 2,
Ooh.
better than Creepshow 2.
Red Dead Redemption?
What did I say?
Red Redemption?
Yes, Red Dead Redemption. It's a Rockstar game.
Oh,
That's
that's
about
why I
the Old
haven't
West.
heard of it.
You're a cowboy. You have a horse.
I am?
Yeah.
And
I want to be a cowboy.
This
It's
one takes place
the
like
best
right at the turn of the
horse
century.
riding game I've ever played.
Yes. It sucks when
Even
you get
better
attached
than
to a horse.
Minecraft?
Yes.
Yes.
Much better than Minecraft.
What sucks is when your horse like runs you off a cliff
Oh,
Yeah.
and dies.
that can
That's
sometimes
disappointing.
So it doesn't
or if you get
happen like
attacked by
Man
a
from
bear
Snowy River.
that kills your horse, that sucks too.
And you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Then you ride the bear.
And you barely kill the bear, and so you're injured, and you're trying to limp back to safety.
Barely
and the bear
kill
comes
it?
and kills you.
The bear cub kills you?
No, another bear.
Oh.
Or wolves.
Oh yeah, packs of wolves.
Or
will-
cow-
Or you're just
Caterpillars.
riding through the desert, and this mountain
a
lion
horse with
jumps
no
out of
name?
the side and knocks you off your horse and eats you.
That happens in this game?
Yes.
in
Or you're
Red
riding
Dead
your horse
Redemption.
on a railroad
Do you
track
have this
because it
game?
goes- I do.
the first one. Well, the first one's actually a sequel,
To Red Dead
Red Dead
Revolver.
Revolver. But then they made a sequel of the sequel
That's way better rated and better.
and called it Red Dead Redemption 2.
Interesting.
And they're reprising the character John Marston, who's the main character who died in the second one. So, or the
Maybe
first
it's
one.
He's a
prequel.
ghost.
I
Prequel.
don't think so.
It's his brother,
Clone.
twin brother. They have the same name.
Maybe he didn't really die. He faked his death,
Or he's a ghost.
or they don't even address it.
Ooh.
'Cause who cares?
Or
Maybe
it's an alternate universe.
We already have his
it's
face
an
map.
alternate timeline.
It's cheaper.
We're saving money.
I'm surprised by how many
They call
people
him
work
Juan
on
Marston.
those. Like
A
you get
lot.
to the credits and you're like, this must have cost a
I-
lot to make.
I just finished, but they make so much money. I just
Yeah.
beat the story mode of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, I haven't played it at all.
I
I
finally
haven't
gave
either.
up after 15 minutes of watching the credits.
Whoa.
And then I tried to continue playing, but there wasn't enough stuff for my characters to do to keep it interesting.
Oh.
After I finished all the parachuting missions.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I did have a fun time. I was in a big 4x4 trying to find where this last parachuting mission was. So there's a helicopter on top of a mountain. I had to get there. This 4x4 was great for getting there, but I did something when the cops were after me. And they had just cop cars on these steep, like, gravelly roads.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'd come flying at me and just go, like, miss me and just fly off the cliff. And like, crash down below. It was
Explode.
hilarious. Or I'd drive them over the car with my big 4x4.
Nice.
But the car physics change based on what kind of car it is for locations like that. So the 4x4, I was able to drive up this pretty steep mountain with it to get to the helicopter and do my
Cool.
last parachuting mission.
Mm.
So that's the news.
Thank
All
you.
right. If you want to support the Enginerdy Show, go to theenginerdyshow.com and click on our Amazon link to do your Amazon shopping. Pro tip, do it once, and as soon as you get there, bookmark it, and then just use the bookmark.
Smart.
That's what the pros do. That's what I do.
That's what the pros do, and the poetry.
Yeah.
Mm. Consumption. Actually, I've been coughing today because I spent a lot of time yesterday
I
cutting MDF with the saw, and I didn't find my face mask for the first hour or two, so I put some MDF.
I don't think I've watched too much since last episode. I did play a video game,
What?
Batman Lego 2.
Lego Batman 2?
Yes, Lego Batman 2, which is, a Lego game. My
Yeah.
wife and I played it and had a lot of fun.
It must be fun to play it without a kid there that's telling you how to do everything.
Yeah, it
Or
is.
wants to do everything
Yeah.
so that you can't do it.
Right.
Right.
Oh, let me do that. No, I was going to do that.
But we got to a part where you can play as Superman, which my wife enjoyed playing as Superman.
My.
So it was like, oh, cool, he's can fly. It's like, oh, cool, he's got heat vision. It's like, yes, it's Superman. He does lots of cool things. Can I play? Oh.
No.
I think other characters eventually in the game you can play as, so I'm looking forward to that.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
We played a lot of Hogwarts or Harry Potter Battle for Hogwarts,
It's fun.
I think it's Hogwarts Battle, isn't it?
whatever.
Probably. I played some of that too this weekend.
I played also.
We had the quickest defeat ever.
Oh, you guys lost
We
quickly? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
oh well, we've got a couple hours before we need to go to bed. Let's just
It's
play.
7:30. We're gonna do now.
Yeah, well,
Afterwards.
we could probably get a game in. Well, we've lost the game so quickly that we started and finished another game. But it started with the villain that doesn't allow you to gain hearts.
Yeah. Fenrir Greyback.
At the same time as you have the villain that causes you to draw extra cards.
Bellatrix Lestrange.
And the villain that makes it so you cannot remove
Harry Connick Jr.
skulls from the location. And that's a deadly combination to start with.
Yes.
Because it's like, who do we kill first?
That'd be a tough one.
Yeah, so we just, lost very
I
quickly.
think I'd go after Harry Connick Jr. first.
That's what we did. And by that time, we were already, by the time we got rid of him, we were already on like the second or third location and just like, Anyway, that's mine.
I finished watching season 7 of The Walking Dead.
I haven't.
It was
seen that
really
one.
good.
I can't remember which season I stopped on.
I stopped at the one where they get away from the community and end up like walking on the railroad tracks and finding this new place.
Oh, where they were going to Terminus?
Yeah.
I think I
Oh.
made it to the season
That's
after
like
that.
season 4 or 3, maybe.
Oh, okay. Because season 1 they're trying to escape Atlanta, right? Season
Yeah.
2
I made it to the one with
they're at the
cannibals.
farm.
Yeah.
Season 3 they're
That's
in the prison. Season 4 I think they're in that like subdivision that's with the crazy guy with the
Oh, the governor.
yeah.
Governor.
The end of that one, I think, is where I got.
Yeah.
I made it past that one.
And the next season is where they find Terminus, I think.
They're not there very long.
I saw 2 other settlements after that, I think, that they went to.
It's good. I like it. Season 7, there's basically, they meet some other communities. They're living in a place called Alexandria.
Virginia?
Yeah, I didn't
Yes.
look at see what it was.
It is Virginia. And they meet some other settlements, but all the settlements are being harassed by this group led by a guy named Negan. And he basically... all the cities have to
Cut a tree down with the area?
give them half of their produce. So
or else...
if they, have domesticated animals, they have to give them half the meat. If they grow crops, they have to give half the crops. If they're, whatever. And they treat them very poorly, so they don't like that. So in season 7, it's all about that.
They destroy another settlement.
Yeah, they do. They're like destroying humanity faster than the zombies at this point.
I don't think in season 7 they destroy any settlements.
Oh, okay.
So, and another zombie-related show. We finished season 1 of iZombie.
All the time.
It's about this
Thanks for the ride,
doctor that gets scratched by a zombie at a party, and she turns into a zombie. But as long as she eats enough brains, she can stay kind of normal, even though she's like really pale and her hair turned white. But there's like all these other zombies kind of doing the same thing, just kind of trying to maintain. And
I didn't.
You should watch
really
Santa
care
Clarita
for it.
Diet,
it's basically a
because that's also a zombie
crime show where she solves the crimes by eating the brains of the victims, and then she gets flashes of their memories. So
I didn't really care for it, but it's probably because I don't care for zombies.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, and
I
then
like
there's other
zombies.
subplots with
Zombies are way better than
stuff.
zombies.
She breaks up with her fiance because she doesn't want to accidentally turn him into a zombie, and so there's like this secrecy
responsible.
aspect, and they're trying to find a cure and all this stuff. So
Yeah, you should watch Santa Clarita Diet. It's awesome.
I'm planning to. All right, what did you?
I finished
consume?
Sneaky Pete season 2.
Oh,
It's very good. I would highly recommend these shows. They are great. It's like watching a juggling act with chainsaws that keeps on adding more and more dangerous things to the juggling. It's like Ocean's 11 type. Everything's got to come together perfectly.
Oh, okay.
And trying to figure out how are they going to possibly do this, and then they'd figure it out.
Huh.
And it's a lot of con artists.
yeah, sounds like something I would like.
It's really good. It's really well done too.
Cool.
And you really feel for the main character. Like, wow. And it doesn't take place over very long, because the second season they're talking about stuff that happened last week, which was the last season. Because it's so interwoven that
Yeah, that's interesting.
it's very good, though. I like it. So check out Sneaky Pete season 2.
I will
And then
after I watch season 1.
I've been watching and listening to a lot of YouTube stuff about D&D.
Yeah.
My newest obsession, according to my wife, who totally got me D&D stuff for my birthday.
Oh.
So I guess that leads us into
Self-inflicted.
nerd cred.
She got me 15 sets of D&D dice.
Wow.
There's like an assorted 100 pack, guaranteed to have 15 sets, so I
Sorted them.
sorted them. She also got me little bags, like velvet bags for them to go in.
Wow.
So when you guys finally come over to play, you guys can all have your own set of dice to play with.
Interesting.
Cool. Yeah, so we all got together on Saturday and made characters.
We're moving right into
For
nerd cred.
ourselves and our wives.
Yeah. So why don't we go and tell about our characters?
Oh.
Okay, I don't have the character sheets with me.
Well, you don't have to tell them like how much charisma you have or anything.
So I decided I was going to make a half-orc
Okay.
barbarian.
A hork.
And so I decided I was going to pick my name by rolling dice.
Yes, that was funny.
So I rolled I think it was a 20-sided dice to determine. I should have used a different one, like an 8-sided, to
Yeah.
determine how many letters were in my
length.
name. And my name came out perfect. It was like 7. I was like, okay, I can do that. And then I flipped a coin after making a list of consonants and vowels. If it was heads, I would pick a consonant based on a 20-sided dice because there happens to be 20 consonants in our alphabet.
Wow.
And then 6-sided dice because there's 6 vowels.
If you count Y as a vowel,
Right, which one would that does?
which all half orcs do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it came out with the pronounceable name even. I can't remember what it was.
Bowie-Iowa.
No, it was like... don't know.
Bend over.
Yeah, that's what it was. So I decided I'd do the same thing for my wife. And then rolled a 17.
Yeah.
And then I had my son was flipping the coin for some reason and
Had
he
like
was not
6
good at
vowels in a row.
it. Yeah, it was like I, U, A, Y.
Oh,
Like
Sylvester,
unpronounceable, so she
Sylvester
goes
Stallone was
by Bob.
trying to call. So I
that
just
didn't
got
work.
the list of types of races, I guess you
Right.
could call it, and there was like 6, so I rolled a 6-sided die and chose
You're a
based on the
tiefling, right?
list that I would be a tiefling,
Which is
It's like
basically a
a-
half demon.
descendant of a demon or a human that made a pact with a demon. And then I did the same thing to choose my class. So I'm a Morlock.
Warlock.
Yeah, that's what I meant. What's a Morlock?
I had nothing.
Oh, that's from the Time Machine.
Time machine.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm a Warlock Tiefling, and I chose my name. I just Googled Tiefling names and found one that my wife and I liked. Axis.
Upheaval.
And my wife is a Wood Elf.
Oh, I didn't talk about my wife's one.
Go for it.
She's a high elf druid
Ooh.
who, in order to play, she's going to have a unicorn to start.
That's one of her
Requirements.
stipulations.
Although
So-
she did pick out her own set of dice out of my dice pack.
Oh.
So I looked through the book at the different races, and there was one that stuck out to me that reminded me of myself. You know, someone who thinks they're better than everyone else, and
Yeah.
is highly intelligent, and thinks it was a high elf.
Hi, Elf.
And
Just as
so,
my wife.
yeah, which those we came up with those independent of each
Yes.
other, because my character is also a druid. Because I like that I could change into different shapes, be like a shapeshifter. So when I was coming up with a name, I'm like, well, this elf thinks the most of himself. So I was looking up in Google Translate words that mean best, and I was looking at Irish and Scottish, I think. I can't remember which one it was, but it came out to be like
EAR.
EAR or something like that. Pronounced fear. So I'm like, okay. And then their last name, they usually have a compound word of something. So I'm trying to think, okay, what would go with my character that would start with fear? And I came up with Might Oak. So if you say it together, Fear My Toke, and he's
That's
a high elf. So I went with a pun.
Which is always the best option.
And then my wife ended up being a ranger elf. So
So she like inspects campsites and puts out forest fires.
only you can prevent dragon fires.
So I had told my kids that we
Oh.
would play on Sunday.
I just remembered my wife was not a Wood Elf.
No,
she changed her mind.
Yeah, she changed it like a dragonborn or
She's
something.
like a
Dragonborn.
monk dragonborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A blue one.
A dragon monk. E.
Hey, we're the
The monkeys.
monkeys.
They look like dragons, but they're humanoid.
Humanoid
tail?
dragons.
Yeah, I think they have a tail.
She can like do a lightning attack or something.
Look their breath, yeah.
Kooky.
So I told my kids I'd play on Sunday, and then they reminded me that. So within an hour, I came up with a quickly drawn map, populated it with monsters, and then decided on a way to keep them within my map because I didn't want them. So I had the bridges
Straying
out.
outside your.
You went with the Grand Theft Auto method.
Yeah, the bridges are out, and the war crews are missing. That's another possible future thing we could do on the same map. But I had a farmer with a missing daughter that they were helping find.
Nice.
And I came up with I went through our old toy bin and got some improvised monster icons and used Lego figures for the figures. And we set up the game and
Did you have to come
played
up with
all
names
three
on
of
the
my
fly?
kids. Yes. Ander was the guy's daughter was missing.
How did you come up with names that quickly? You just rolled something out?
Yep.
Hmm.
And my kids that already had their characters, and Zoc actually, within an hour, quickly rolled and came up with a new character they played with. Which he does really good at. He's really good at it. So we played, and like, for instance, the first creatures I came to were giant vultures. I tried to pick ones that were appropriate for first levels to fight. And so to represent that, I took a Mountain Dew can. And we had one of my wife sold those mats, with the squares on it for doing crafting.
Oh, yeah.
It was perfect for setting up, like, so we can figure distances.
Oh, yeah.
So I set it out in the middle, and I had, like, rubber duckies, like small ones.
Rubber ducky.
That were the vultures.
You're the
So you
one.
could differentiate which one was close to which character. And my middle son, he was a paladin, so he's like a knight. So he has to run up on the tree where they're at. Or he snuck up or whatever. And then...
A knight snuck.
Yeah.
Clink, clink,
Right.
clink, clink.
I think he had a really good roll on that one first, which was amazing.
You used WD-40.
Yeah. And then youngest son, he went halfway, and he's like a wizard, I think. Or something like that.
You're a wizard, Harry.
He could do spells of some kind.
Yeah, hairy wizard.
So then Zoc sat back at the maximum range of his bow, and he actually did that through the whole thing pretty much, and was very instrumental in taking down foes by shooting them from distance.
Nice.
From a distance.
So our youngest son, on one of his rolls, he was going to use this magical ice dagger that when you throw it, and even if it misses, it explodes. But he critically failed with the roll of a 1 on his attack roll. So I had him, like, as he's pulling it out, like, have it catch on something and dropping it at his feet and having it explode. And he rolled for his damage, and it knocked him unconscious. Or knocked him all the way to 0 hit points.
Oh.
Which at that point, you're on the ground, prone, unconscious, and you have to do, I think you get 3 save throws to try to
Revive.
The
Wow.
way it works is you have to roll, and you have to get over a certain number.
Uh-huh.
And then you fill in a little circle for a save. And you have to get 3 of those before you get 3 failures to survive. Otherwise, your character's dead.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah, he survived. But it was interesting watching the kids and the way they were playing. A couple of times, Peyton is a paladin, so he's like a holy warrior, but basically. A couple of times he tried to give people an option to quit or give up. But he failed on his persuasion rolls, so they didn't give up, and so he ended up having to kill him anyways. But and then my youngest son tended to attack without thought to any other option. At one point, then middle son tried to tackle him before he could attack these people were trying to convince to, and he failed on his. So he's like a huge, like, paladin knight, and Colin's character is small. And he failed on his tackle roll.
Uh-oh.
And they were even, like, fighting against each other at the end. They had gold they were supposed to split up. Zach's character was a rogue. He didn't care about gold at all. So he just, like, wasn't part of it. So they're rolling against each other, trying to convince each other they should get the bigger portion of gold.
Wow.
It was really fun. We had a good time. We used a Hulk figure, little toy for an ogre.
Nice.
That they could have snuck up on probably and had an advantage on, but there was a rock and there was a weird noise coming from the other side, like a loud booming noise. And so Zoc just decided to launch an arrow at the maximum range over the rock. And he rolled a dice that he hit the ogre, which then caused him to come charging around the side. At the point that the paladin was too close, because he'd snuck up to or gotten to the rock almost. But at that point, Zoc was like 500 feet back, and so was my youngest son. And so most of the battle, my youngest son's trying to use his turn to, like,
Get closer.
Well, poor Peyton is, like, stuck fighting this ogre pretty much by himself. And Zoc was missing with his arrows all the time.
Oh.
And when he did hit him, he had low damage. It was... they barely survived. But it was fun.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the
Played for
point.
about 2 hours. That's
So
good.
my nerd cred is one of the podcasters of a podcast I listen to liked one of my comments on Facebook.
No, nice.
Well, the reason I started listening to their podcast was because an old friend of mine is a friend of them. And so they had him as a guest on their show.
Oh.
And so I found out
That's
about
called
it.
being a friend once removed.
Yes. So I listened to their show and I really liked it. That's the Bacon Sale podcast.
Oh.
So
Cool.
I made a comment on our mutual friend's post that he make, and they liked it.
Nice.
Wow.
So I feel famous. Some podcaster liked my... Wait, I'm a podcaster. I guess I don't feel
We have other podcaster friends that
I know.
often...
I guess I don't feel so special
In fact,
after
my kids looked at me weird and it's like, oh, I got 2 British happy birthdays. They're like, what? Well, thank you for the happy birthdays, everyone, by the way. If you wish me happy
You're welcome.
birthdays, awesome.
We didn't get too much feedback, but I have been hearing a lot of Master Zed's name being said on Span the Void.
Yeah, same here.
Because they do it on Facebook, and so if you're listening live, you can like comment and they'll talk
Oh,
about.
yeah, I remember I was commenting, watching them.
Yeah.
We had all 3 of us on there at one point.
Yeah.
You and
Yeah.
Master
One of our
Zed.
sisters was on there at one point, too, while we were all doing it.
I hardly ever am home and free when their show's on, so...
Yeah, I never get on Facebook, so I don't see the notification that they're live.
I've been just crazy busy,
Yeah.
which my new D&D thing is not good.
Well, they're like several time zones away too, so.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, if you want to contact us, send an email to enginerdyshow@gmail.com, or you can go to theenginerddyshow.com and you can link to Facebook and Twitter there where you can comment to us. Let us know what you think of our new sound setup, if you like it better than the old one. I've heard from listeners that I know in real life that it sounds a lot better, so...
We got voice actor coaching, too, right? Or do we not supposed to tell them that?
That was a secret.
I haven't had that.
Shh, we weren't supposed to tell Mr. Pold.
It's okay, he's high elf, so...
I'm Mike Toke over here. So
While you're at theengineerdyshow.com, click through our Amazon link and bookmark it and do some shopping. And that supports the show. Thank you for listening this week. Stay nerdy.
live long and nerdy.
Roll for initiative.